Welcome back to my channel. My name is Danny GT and I am your mindful bestie. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about a topic that is really quite raw for me at the minute, but it was actually my husband that said this would be a really good time to film it because, I mean, when is a good time to film these sorts of things? But as you can see by the title of the video, this is where I'm going to be showing my experience of how I am coping with the loss of a loved one and managing having anxiety. So this is all completely my own experience, and I hope that just by posting this video, it's going to help somebody out there that maybe has some form of an anxiety disorder. And unfortunately, we come across death. I really wasn't ready for this death in our family, but I'm hoping this video will really help somebody out there on how I have been managing my anxiety whilst grieving at the same time. Before we get into the video, I would really appreciate a like, thumbs up, a subscribe, where you can be notified when I post videos, and all my videos are related to mental health, managing my anxiety, but also how to live your mindful and best life as well. So stay tuned if you're interested in any of those topics, and you can head to my channel and find whatever else I have on there. Now, so if you haven't been to my channel before and haven't seen my video on my anxiety, I'm going to post a little pop-up here, and this is where I talk about my generalized anxiety disorder. So I was diagnosed, oh my goodness, I don't even know now. For quite a while, I've lived with generalized anxiety disorder. I'm on antidepressants to help manage it day to day. I have had counselling, I've had CBT, I've had life coaching, I've had so many different things, which is what obviously led me to start this channel and led me to also become a self-employed life coach as well. But regardless of all of that, this background of me is that I have generalized anxiety disorder, and how that affects me is a number of different ways. Generally, on a day-to-day basis, I feel absolutely fine. I've got it really under control. I don't get any feelings of anxiety. I don't get any physical symptoms of anxiety. And generally, I live a really good, positive life, which I'm so lucky, but I have put a lot of work into it. So generally, when my anxiety is bad, it can affect me in physical ways, such as upset stomach, I get blurry vision, I feel unable to see, I start to get a tight chest, I feel like I'm starting to panic, I feel like I have this sense of dread, like something bad is going to happen. And then I struggle to leave the house, and I tend to get agoraphobia really bad when my anxiety is really bad. But right now, I don't have any of those symptoms. I haven't had any of those symptoms for a while, since I probably did one of my last videos, which was on antidepressants actually, and how that affects me. That was when I was kind of having a bad spell again. But since this recent situation has happened where we've lost a loved one in our family, it has obviously brought it to a head. And what I want to talk about in this video is how I have been coping with losing a loved one and anxiety rearing its ugly head at the same time. So in the first couple of weeks after the death had happened, I started to feel more anxious. I didn't get agoraphobia. I didn't want to not leave the house. I very much wanted to be outside a lot of the time, which is very much the opposite of when my anxiety is really bad in the past. So how my anxiety started appearing was through stomach upset, which that used to lead me to not wanting to leave the house as well, in case I had an upset stomach while I was out. But I knew I was managing my diet really well. Despite what had happened, I was trying to maintain a really healthy diet. And that's a way I find to cope with anxiety, is as long as everything is in tip-top shape, so my diet, my exercise, socializing, recharging, resting, all those sorts of things, sleep, that they're okay, that then it makes it easier for me to pinpoint the anxiety. Now, the kind of, I don't know how to describe it, best thing out of this situation, with anxiety I mean, is I knew where my anxiety was coming from. I knew it was coming from the grief I was feeling. So I didn't feel so panicky or too much dread all the time, because I knew that the anxiety was coming from loss of a loved one, and it was coming from heartache, to be completely honest. So the first couple of weeks, I ended up having more anxiety, not about leaving the house, but knowing that I wasn't going to see that person who we had just lost. That made me feel so anxious, and It's really bizarre. It's really bizarre. I've actually never lost someone so close. So I knew I was feeling anxious and I could pinpoint what it was, but it didn't feel like anxiety that I'd had before, where I was unable to start to function, to do day-to-day things. It didn't feel like generalized anxiety at all. But obviously I knew what it was when I felt it, because I've had so much anxiety before. There was good days and bad days. There was every single day I thought of that person, and every single day I cried, because I also hope I get through this video as well without crying. Because this is like the first time I'm really speaking about it in this sort of like format as well. And this isn't to talk about like who it was in my life. This is to talk about how I managed the anxiety with the grief and the recent loss of a loved one. I lost my train of thought, but I'm just going to keep talking anyway. So in those first couple of weeks, I was obviously feeling a lot of anxiety. But what I did to maintain good health was I tried to maintain eating a healthy diet, whether that was like 2 meals a day, because I found in the beginning I wasn't eating. But I made sure that if I was eating at least one good meal a day, it was a good healthy diet. It had protein, it had greens, it had like fiber in it, it had like some like veggies, it had some carbs in it as well. I made sure that was really good. I made sure to maintain my water, and how I did that was by drinking herbal tea. So I found, because tea was very comforting. It's funny how people offer you a cup of tea when you feel sad, or if you've seen Big Bang Theory, Sheldon offers people tea when they feel sad, and it really is comforting to have a cup of tea. So we had lots of teas in my family, and that was really helpful as well. So I made sure that I was keeping my water intake up, that I wasn't hurting my body anymore, because it was really about, emotionally I was very hurt, mentally I was very drained, so physically I needed to be able to maintain some form of health. And I found that really, really helped manage and lessen the anxiety, because I didn't have to worry about if there was anything physically wrong with me, because I was looking after myself. I also found, I mentioned it already, but going outside was so helpful. I could feel myself getting emotional. I could feel myself getting emotional about going outside. Going outside was really, really helpful. And we've been really lucky, because this has only been in the last 4 weeks this has happened. We've been really lucky here where I am, that we've had so much sun, and that has been so wonderful and so helpful to get out, sit in the garden. I also have a dog. If you haven't seen my videos before, so he was really encouraging to be able to get us out the house and go for walks, and that was really such a helpful thing. In the very beginning as well, there was lots of people who wanted to see us, and we really kind of saw the people that we really wanted to see, and anybody else outside of that, we said not no, but we said we can't right now, be in touch in the future. And everyone was really understanding, because it's also really important to recognize your boundaries during that time, that it changes, and our boundaries did very much change. We just wanted to stay as a really close family and really just have the few people that were really close to us and really close to the person we lost as well in our lives at that time. So that was really helpful as well to help manage anxiety, was that by setting those boundaries, I wasn't compromising anything, because during this time I didn't want to compromise. I didn't feel like I needed to. I felt like I had to do what was right for me and my family had to do what was right for them as well. And then things started to get better. We started to feel a bit more good, but we hadn't had the funeral at this point. So you kind of think you're getting into a bit of a routine. The anxiety starts to lessen. You start to feel a bit better. Then it was the week before the funeral, and the funeral has just happened at the start of this week. Then it was the week before, and then a massive increase of anxiety, to the point where I was struggling to hold conversations. I really struggled to hold any sort of like socialization, whether it was just a passing like hello, or whether it was like trying to send a voice note to like my family. I just couldn't get my head straight. So I just, in that moment, how I coped with that, being unable to like get my thoughts clear, is I spent a lot of time again going out in nature, but I actually tried to meditate. I do meditate normally. I haven't meditated for like the last 3 weeks, other than the week before the funeral. And it wasn't even really necessarily meditating. It was more a case of just sitting on my bed or on the floor, with the headphones on and some really gentle music. So like on Spotify, I've got this playlist. It's like evening meditation music or morning meditation music. It's just very calm, instrumental music. And I just matched my breathing with it. And it really was a case of breathing in through my nose and out the mouth. And I found that really grounding as well, to just check in on my breath when I really couldn't get my thoughts, couldn't get my words straight. I was mixing words up. So I found that really, really helpful to manage. Because then I felt anxious about not being able to actually communicate. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm melting. My brain's melting at the minute. How am I going to be on the day of the funeral? This is only just when I'm at home in my own space. So I found that was really, really helpful. Also during all this time, having anxiety generally and feeling more anxiety when you're grieving, there's also a lot of anxiety when you're grieving with somebody else who is grieving too. You want to support each other, and you do support each other, and you listen to what each other are saying and doing, and anxiety is going back and forth between both of you, and you think, oh my goodness, I feel anxious, and then they're like, oh my goodness, I feel anxious. So how did I manage my anxiety when I was with somebody who was also grieving? I found that communicating with them and telling them exactly how I felt to try and get them to encourage to speak as well was really helpful. It was challenging. I'm not going to say it was easy. When I say it was challenging, it wasn't like tough or anything like that, but we were both feeling exactly the same grief, and I couldn't talk about it without crying or getting upset. So then I felt terrible because I didn't want to put my tears on the other person I was grieving with. And I'm also using very blank terms here because I don't want to share who it was. So I don't want to share who it was, and I don't want to share the relationships I was grieving with either. So I'm just saying this person, that person. But trying to do things together at least once a day, whether that was go for a walk or go out to the local coffee shop, or it was go to the beach. It was trying to do different things, but always outside of the house. It had to be outside the house. But it was also very tiring going and doing those things. Realise I'm not actually looking at the camera. It was also very tiring doing those things because you feel really drained, but it was so rewarding when we did it after. So the communication, when you're feeling anxious, what's making you feel anxious, what was making me feel anxious, for them to communicate as well, but then just doing things together. So then it came to the day of the funeral, and I felt a lot of anxiety on that day. I felt a lot of stress on that day. But I wasn't the only one, and that was also not comforting, it's the wrong word, but it's also okay to be like, okay, other people feel this too. It's not like I feel like the only one in the world, because with anxiety you can feel completely alone, especially when you have like a panic attack or something like that, but everybody else was feeling exactly the same. So it was okay to feel the anxiety that day, feel the tears that day, feel the emotions that day. And that's what I really let myself do on the day of the funeral, was feel exactly how I wanted to feel. If I wanted to cry, I cried. If I wanted to smile in the service and things like that, then I would. And if I wanted to be angry, I would also feel that as well. Obviously not towards anybody. I would express that appropriately. But that is absolutely fine to feel all those emotions, and I allowed myself to on the day. I didn't care what anybody else thought, because everybody else was also so lovely anyway. And after the funeral, I think I was hoping to feel some form of relief after it, and I'll be completely honest and say that I didn't, and I still don't feel relief. I can actually feel myself getting upset again. I feel like, I don't know. I mean, it's not looming over our head. One of my really close friends said this morning. They were like, it's not looming over your head having the funeral anymore, which is absolutely right. It feels like, okay, now that is done, we can start to work towards healing and to find normality in life as well. But I don't feel a sense of relief by having the funeral. And I'm not saying relief like, oh, it's over. I don't feel any better, I will be completely honest. I haven't had any anxiety for the last few days, which has been really good, but I haven't felt like I wanted to talk. And I'm a really chatty person, and even in this video, you know, I really wanted to film something to get back into filming again, because I love it. I love doing my YouTube channel, but I just didn't know what to do. And obviously it's been the wrong time the last 4 months, but that's when my husband was like, do this video, this will be really good. And I do feel like if there's any time to talk about it, it's now. Like literally, it's only been the last like 4 weeks since we lost the person. So what now? What next? Is obviously I don't feel any better. I feel like I can do things day to day. I don't feel like I'm hindered in that way. And I feel like I've also reevaluated lots of things I want to do at the minute as well. That is something that has really become very apparent, is that there's things I'm doing in my life and I'm like, there is more I can be doing elsewhere. Like life is way too short. This has really, really taught me that. And I know that that person would want me to absolutely go for it as well. And I know that person wouldn't want me to sit and cry and be upset. I do feel very sad about not having them here. But I don't have to, there's no rule book to say you have to be better by this point. The good thing is I am doing things day to day. I am coping day to day. I'm going to work. Luckily, I'm self-employed, which is actually another video I want to talk about, is how I became self-employed and what does my self-employment day look like. So I'm very lucky that I get to do things that I really love. And yeah, so there's no timeline for me to feel better by, and I might never, but I lost my train of thought again, as I always do. But in terms of what now, I just make sure to manage my anxiety and my mental health day to day. And I do that by all the healthy habits that I have in my life, which is yoga, meditation, eating healthily, exercising, talking, journaling, all those sorts of things. So just make sure I maintain those. And actually I had lost doing like a morning routine, which is really helpful for me. I had stopped that, so I've now got back into that. I was getting up late, I was getting up 9 a.m, which is really late. That's so late for me. So now I've got back into setting an alarm, which I don't normally do, setting it for 7 a.m, making sure I get up every day. So those are the sort of things I'm introducing now. So that is what having the funeral out of the way is allowing me to do, because leading up to it, it's all about that day. Now it's like, okay, I can start working on me again. Doesn't mean that I'm getting over the loss at all. And I think I probably thought I would feel a lot more energized essentially after, and I don't, but that's okay, because that's clearly telling me I just need to take it slower, a bit more, and that's okay, because the momentum will build up again. And I think that's the biggest thing I've taken from this, is that I stopped a lot of things because I was like really I was approaching burnout before we lost this person, and this has really taught me to go, whoa, like cut everything out that's not serving you and just really focus on the essentials and the priority. And then I've spent a lot of my time off, and this time with my family, talking to them, seeing them, with my dog, and that's been so wonderful. So that is that has been the nicest thing, I suppose, out of all of this. So thank you so much for watching my video on managing anxiety and the loss of a loved one. If you have any questions at all, or if you want me to expand on this at all, then by all means drop me a comment below. I love to hear when you guys comment. So if there's anything else you want to see in particular, always feel free to drop me a comment down below. And also you can always reach out if you feel like you're going through like this as well, and there's something you want to talk about. I will do a video on it. More than happy to do a video on it and my experience. But thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Namaste.